Welcome to the Deep Dive. Get ready for a fascinating journey. We're diving into the world of energetic boundaries, psychic phenomena, and the power of intention.
And what's especially interesting is how these sources, they come from all different places. Practical guides, historical accounts, we even have modern energy medicine. But they all seem to agree on one thing.
That energy shapes reality.
Exactly. Whether it's seen or unseen, it's a powerful force.
Let's start with this Energetic Boundaries PDF. It really focuses on intention, especially for healing and creating those boundaries.
It's more than just positive thinking, though.
Right. It lays out these 5 steps for setting intentions. Releasing guilt and blame first, then clearing out old intentions, setting new ones, asking for support, and finally believing. But it's not just mental.
It's like you're actually shaping your energy, aligning it with what you want to achieve.
And it even talks about blessing objects with your intention. That's pretty wild.
Have you ever thought about that? Like using intention to bless your laptop before a big presentation, or maybe your car keys before a long drive.
I can't say I have.
It's like you're imbuing them with a specific energy through your intention, almost creating a feedback loop. The object, now charged with your intention, sends that energy back.
Interesting. Okay, let's switch gears. Let's talk about Psychic Self-Defense by Dion Fortune. This book is full of stories about psychic attacks and the unseen forces at play. It's a bit spooky.
It was published in the 1930s, and she doesn't hold back.
Not at all. She talks about being psychically attacked by her employer. It was so bad, it even messed with her memory.
She describes these attacks as assaults on your energy field, leading to all sorts of problems.
Intense.
But what's fascinating is that she doesn't just tell scary stories, she actually tries to categorize these attacks by their source and intention.
So, like, some attacks are unintentional.
Exactly. Like, if someone's really jealous, their emotions might cause an attack without them realizing it.
And then others are deliberate.
Yes. Someone might intentionally try to harm you psychically. She even talks about the evil eye.
Oh yeah, the idea that someone can harm you just by looking at you sends chills down my spine.
It's an ancient belief, but it shows how powerful focused intention can be, even if it's used negatively. Fortune also warns against dabbling in magic without the proper knowledge, because you could accidentally open yourself up to these negative forces.
It's a reminder to be respectful of the subtle energies around us.
Definitely. Let's move on to Spiritual Cleansing by Draja Mikahurik. This one feels more practical, like a guide to clearing out negative energy.
It's definitely more grounded.
He focuses on techniques anyone can use, like ritual bathing. We all know that feeling of renewal after a good soak in the tub.
But he takes it a step further.
Right.
He sees it as cleansing our energy body, not just the physical body.
Exactly. He talks about adding things like salt or herbs to amplify the cleansing effect. He also suggests other techniques, like egg cleansing rituals, using an egg to absorb negativity.
Have you ever tried that?
I have. It's surprisingly simple and effective.
Maybe we'll have to try that sometime.
We should. Mikahurik also connects back to the evil eye. He suggests that certain parts of the body are more vulnerable, like the back of your neck or the base of your spine.
It's like we have these energetic weak points.
Maybe we do. All right, now for something completely different. Richard Bartlett and his book Matrix Energetics. This one tries to bridge the gap between ancient wisdom and modern science.
He really pushes the boundaries of what we think is possible. He had this crazy experience where he saw a client's leg just lengthen. During a treatment, it changed everything for him.
A Superman moment.
That's a good way to put it. It made him question the limitations of medicine. He started to explore the idea that reality is malleable, that our perceptions shape our experiences.
It's like he took the concept of intention from the Energetic Boundaries PDF and amplified it.
Exactly. And he describes this technique called the 2-point method. You focus energy between 2 points on the body, and supposedly it can cause changes.
It sounds wild, but what's interesting is that Bartlett is a doctor. He's rooted in science, but he came to these conclusions through his own experiences and observations. He saw something that couldn't be explained, and it opened his mind to the power of energy.
It's amazing.
It is.
We've covered a lot, from intention to psychic attacks to energy medicine. It's fascinating to see how these ideas connect, even across different fields and time periods.
It all comes back to energy. It's a powerful force that we can learn to work with. It's not just about protecting ourselves, it's about tapping into our own power to shape our reality.
And this is just the beginning. We'll dive even deeper in part 2. Stay tuned.
Welcome back. Let's keep exploring these ideas. and dive deeper into how we can actually use them and the mind-bending implications of working with energy.
I'm really interested in Richard Bartlett and matrix energetics. His perspective is so different. He says reality is more flexible than we think. Like, we have more power to shape our experiences than we realize.
He's definitely challenging us to think bigger, to reconsider what's possible. Remember his two-point method. You focus energy between 2 points. And it can cause changes. It sounds almost like science fiction. But he says it's a real technique, with real results. He believes that by focusing energy, we can affect the physical world in ways that seem impossible.
What's really wild is that he even talks about time travel. Wait, before we start picturing DeLoreans, it's important to understand he doesn't mean literally traveling through time. He uses it as a metaphor for a technique.
Yeah.
That can change outcomes.
He believes we can tap into retrocausality, the idea that the future can influence the past. He even tells a story about needing new windshield wiper blades. While he was driving, he imagined that he had already bought and installed them. He even focused on the feeling of relief at having clear visibility. And guess what?
He found the perfect blades.
Within 45 minutes, even though he wasn't even looking for them.
So it's like he manifested them by mentally time traveling to a point where he already had them? That's a pretty big idea.
It is. It challenges us to think beyond time as a straight line. What if our thoughts and intentions can ripple backward, shaping events in ways we don't even realize? It makes you wonder about cause and effect and how time is connected.
Okay, my mind is blown. But this idea of energy and its influence, it's not new. Dion Fortune was writing about this back in the 1930s in Psychic Self-Defense. Her stories about psychic attacks are so fascinating and a little scary.
What makes her work valuable is that she goes beyond just telling stories. She tries to categorize the different types of psychic attacks. She outlines their characteristics, sources, and what can happen because of them. Like, she separates attacks that are fueled by strong emotions, anger, jealousy. Those might be unintentional, from attacks that are planned on purpose by someone who wants to harm you.
So like a spectrum of psychic influence.
Exactly. She also digs into the evil eye, that idea that someone's bad energy or bad intentions can be transferred through their gaze. Have you ever met someone whose look just seemed to drain you?
I think we all have.
It taps into that primal fear of unseen forces. That energy can affect us, even in subtle ways. And what's interesting is that Fortune also warns us about dabbling in ceremonial magic without the proper knowledge. She says it could open doors to negative entities.
It's like a reminder to be careful and respectful when we're dealing with energy.
It is. Let's shift gears again, back to something more practical. Draja Mikaherik's Spiritual Cleansing. It's like a guidebook for anyone who wants to understand and clear out negative energy.
It feels much more down to earth.
He focuses on techniques that are easy to do, like ritual bathing, we all know. That feeling of being refreshed after a long bath.
But he sees it as more than that.
Right.
He believes it cleanses our energy body too.
Yeah.
Not just the physical body.
Exactly. He suggests adding things to the bath, salt, herbs, to make the cleansing even stronger. He also talks about other techniques, like egg cleansing, using an egg to absorb negativity.
Have you ever tried that?
I have. Both salt baths and egg cleansing. And they're surprisingly effective at shifting my energy, creating a feeling of renewal. What I also find interesting is that Mikaherik connects specific parts of the body to how vulnerable they are to negative energy. He thinks areas like the back of the neck, the sternum, the base of the spine are more susceptible.
It's like there are sensitive points
Yeah,
in our energy field.
maybe there are. This reminds me of Richard Bartlett and his two-point method, where he focuses on specific spots on the body to help with healing. It's like ancient wisdom and modern techniques are meeting.
It's interesting how these different approaches seem to point to the same understanding of energy, how it works, and how it can both harm and heal.
It suggests that we're not just talking about abstract ideas, but real forces that can be measured, influenced, even directed.
I'm starting to see a pattern, intention, awareness, and how energy works. It's like we're uncovering a hidden world of energetic forces that shape our lives.
And what's empowering is that we're not just bystanders in this energetic landscape. We can actively participate, learning to protect ourselves, cleanse our energy, and even direct our intentions to create our reality.
This deep dive is changing how I see the world and my place in it. I'm excited to keep exploring these concepts and see where it leads.
There's so much more to discover. Stay tuned for part 3. We'll tie everything together and explore how we can use what we've learned. We'll leave you with some powerful insights. and techniques to empower your own journey with energy and its possibilities.
Welcome back to the Deep Dive. It feels like we've been on this incredible journey, exploring the world of energy, from setting intentions to psychic attacks to bending reality. It's a lot to take in.
It is, but it all seems to point to the same idea, that energy is everywhere. It's a fundamental force that affects everything.
We've covered so much ground, but how do we actually use this in our lives? It's one thing to talk about psychic self-defense and manipulating energy, but how do we make it practical?
Well, it starts with awareness, paying attention to our own energy, noticing how it changes throughout the day, what drains us, what gives us energy. It's like developing a sixth sense for energy.
So we become energy detectives. What are some signs that our energy is off?
There are a lot of subtle clues. Feeling tired all the time, unexplained anxiety, mood swings, even getting sick a lot. These could be signs that your energy is low or blocked. It's like our energy is trying to tell us something.
Okay, so let's say we've figured out what's draining our energy. What can we do about it? Do we have to become hermits and meditate in a cave to stay balanced?
No, not at all. It's about making choices that support our energy. Remember those practical techniques from Draja Mikaharik in spiritual cleansing? Simple things, like taking a salt bath, smudging with sage, even spending time in nature. Those can make a big difference.
And we can use intention to set boundaries too, like we learned in the Energetic Boundaries PDF, choosing who and what we let in, physically and energetically.
Right, it's like building a shield to filter out unwanted influences, to protect our energy. But setting boundaries doesn't mean shutting ourselves off. It's about creating a safe space so we can interact with the world from a place of strength.
Okay, now let's talk about psychic attacks. Dion Fortune's psychic self-defense was pretty intense, all those unseen forces, the potential for harm. Are we all just walking targets for negative energy?
It's important to be realistic. Psychic attacks can be real, but we don't want to get caught up in fear and paranoia. Remember, our own fear can actually make us more vulnerable.
So being skeptical is a good thing.
Definitely. It's about figuring out what's a real threat and what's just our imagination. But the best defense is a good offense when our energy is strong and clear. We're less likely to be affected by negative stuff. It's like having a strong immune system for our energy field.
So all those cleansing techniques are like preventative medicine for our energy.
Exactly. And don't forget about positive emotions. Love, gratitude, joy. These can act as a shield too. It's about raising our vibration so negativity can't stick.
So it's not just about avoiding the bad, but creating the good. I like that.
It's both. Clearing out the negative and filling up with positive. And that's where Richard Bartlett comes in, with matrix energetics. He takes us beyond just protection. He helps us become creators of our own reality.
Now, I'm really curious. How do we do that? How do we use Bartlett's ideas to actually change our lives?
It starts with changing our limiting beliefs, seeing a bigger picture of what's possible. Remember his time travel idea? It's about going beyond our usual way of thinking about time and using intention to influence events in the past, present, and future.
So we're training our minds to see past the limits of our current reality, to imagine the life we want, and then align our energy with that vision.
Exactly. And as we practice this, we start to see that we're not just victims of circumstance. We're creators with the power to shape our experiences.
This has been such an amazing deep dive. It's completely changed how I think about energy and how it can transform our lives. Thank you for taking me on this journey.
The journey continues. The more you explore these ideas, the more you experiment, the more you'll discover about your own connection to the power of energy. Keep questioning, keep experimenting, and most importantly, keep believing in the possibilities that are within you.
This deep dive has been incredible. I hope you feel inspired to explore this unseen world and use the power of energy to change your life. Thanks for diving deep with us.